Alright guys, welcome back. Last video I showed you all about how I cleaned up the rear end, went through changing brackets on it and everything, also painting it, going through the whole rebuild, kind of explaining all about the brakes on it and installing them. This video we're going to actually install it in the truck and do a little road test, so not even going to waste any time, we're going to get right to it. So here we go. So I got most of the U-bolts all loose, brake lines are disconnected, drive shaft's disconnected, shocks are disconnected. Just getting ready to pull this axle out, swap it out. Hopefully just drop it right down on the cardboard here so I can slide it out and it should be good. So. All right, one little problem I found already with this kit is that, you can see it there, the parking brake bracket comes right up to the plate for the U-bolts on top. I'm going to trim this one. I did the other side already too. I'll show you that quick. But this one I'll trim. This isn't quite as close as the other one, but you can see, oops, I can get the light in there. And from above. Now this caliper is going to have to move a little bit back and forth, so that's why if it didn't move at all, it would be fine. I'll show you the other side quick. This one I already kind of trimmed. I'm going to tweak that bracket, parking brake bracket, just a little bit, and then it's got room to slide this way and that way, left to right a little bit. So we should be good there. I'm not going to use them anyway. I probably could just cut them off or take them off, but we'll leave them on just in case. But kind of a minor detail to trim that. All right, I got everything, the axle all bolted up. U-bolts are tight. I got my the two lines that I had made up for the back. I attached them to that rubber hose that goes up to the frame. I got my shocks installed and kind of ready to put the wheels back on here and start working on the master cylinder. Two things that I noticed now that I've got this bolted in and stuff like that, and maybe I should have checked beforehand, but I'll kind of show you on here. These bolt holes are smaller on the 7.5 axle versus on the 8.8. Not much, or like one size bigger bolt hole, but my shock is a certain size, so I suppose I would have to change the shock to make it the size of the axle on the 8.8. Not a big deal. As long as you get them tight, they should be fine. If they do rattle, I'll have to figure something out there, or put a bushing or something in there. And then also the flange here, the pinion flange, is different. Basically it's just a bolt hole size. So this is 2.5 across from bolt hole to bolt hole. On the 8.8 it's 3 inches. So it's a different bolt pattern. I'm not sure if this pinion flange would fit on the 8.8, if it would slide onto the shaft. You could reuse that one. What I'm going to do is just take my drive shaft out and have it sent off to the drive shaft shop and see if they just can't put a different basically yoke or flange on that side, the drive shaft side, that would bolt right up, you know, and then just keep the same U-joint. If not, I'm going to probably have to upgrade the drive shaft size or something like that. So not the end of the world, but a little extra money I wasn't planning on, I guess, but shouldn't be too bad, I don't think. But next we're going to start working on replacing the master cylinder, and then I'm going to end up redoing these lines here because the proportioning valve will be mounted underneath. So I have lines made up to go to that, but then from there and down we'll have to run one from the proportioning valve down to the line lock here to the front brakes, and then the other one I'm going to replace all the way back to the rear axle. That one's kind of rusty anyway, so that's probably going to be my next thing here, is just to make up some new lines, and once I get that master cylinder on. So all right, I got it back on the ground. This is kind of the final setup here, our installation. I got the lines run, kind of got them painted just so they don't rust. It runs up on top there up to the T. You can see that from this side right there. And then back down to the other side. One thing I did learn about these rear calipers on this kit is they're from a '79 Cadillac Eldorado rear. So So that's where the caliper is from. So if I need parts later or whatever, I can just go that or get them right through Right Stuff. But the thing I kind of found out is that the parking brake, or the piston in the caliper, does not move a whole lot. So if you pump it and keep pumping it, it kind of only goes so far and then retracts when you get off the pedal. So you basically have to constantly keep these parking brake levers adjusted. So when you put this in, you're supposed to adjust the parking brake mechanical mechanism, adjust it, so it basically adjusts the piston out to apply the brakes, and then from there the cylinder or the piston will take over and keep that tight until the brakes wear down, and then they're need to be adjusted again. Now if you're hooking up the parking brake cables and always using them, you'd never have to worry about it. They're going to apply just fine. But I don't know what I'm going to do here. I might buy a spare caliper and take it apart and just see if there's a way that I can maybe disconnect that worm gear in there, so the piston will just freely go in and out and I wouldn't have to adjust it. But otherwise, I'm guessing maybe once a year or every couple months or whatever, just roll under here and just all I have to do is, it's pretty easy to push in by hand, but just to adjust it that way and just make sure that they're within kind of spec so they work. But otherwise, we got everything installed here, back on the ground, wheels tight. I ran all new lines, basically from that rubber hose that runs from the frame rail down to the axle. I put all new lines in and basically into here. Get the light on here. So basically this is all new line and down through the frame rail. This one just runs to the line lock here. So that's new there. Otherwise I got the proportioning valve mounted down under here now and the lines run. Can't see any leaks yet, so we should be good. Basically we'll be able to go out and road test this thing and see how it does, and maybe do some two-wheel burnouts this time versus a one-wheel peel. So that'll be fun. We'll take it for a little test drive, see how it does, make sure there's no noises coming from the rear end. So this is the old yoke that was on the drive shaft that went on the 7.5 rear end. Basically this has a 2.5 by 2.5 bolt pattern. I forget what the bolt circle they call it is on this. Would be a little bit bigger than 2.5. I think it's around 3 inches or something like that. So I had to swap that out for a different one that's 3 inches by 3 inches. That was actually Spicer part number 2-2-1379. It was basically just a matter of taking the snap rings out each side, tapping out the U-joint cap on each end, and then installing it on the new one, and it bolted right up. Pretty slick. So that was kind of an easy fix. Price of the yoke wasn't too bad. I think I paid 50 or 60 bucks or something like that, maybe 40, I forget what it was. But rather than replacing the yoke on the pinion or redoing the drive shaft or something like that, we'll try that one out. For now, it should be strong enough and works good. So alright guys, we're out road testing the truck. Got everything back together now, tires on and everything, so figure we take it out, make sure there's no vibrations or nothing's falling off, no noises. So far so good. I'll probably find a little spot, see if we can't do a two-wheel burnout versus just a one-wheel peel that was before. Before it was just an open diff, and now we got that Detroit True Track in there, which I really love, so we'll give that a test here in just a second. So all right, let's see what we can do. See if this will work. There we go. So I'm happy with the results results, guys. Everything seems to be working good. We'll double check for leaks when we get back, make sure brake lines and everything are good. And also check for any oil leaks, double top off the oil if we have to. But I'm happy with the results. Everything seems to be working great. So I appreciate you watching. Remember to like, share, tag, follow, whatever you want to do. And stick around. Got more to come with this truck, so thanks.